Yo, what is going on, you guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we are going to be going over what if Mary Jane Watson died in the first Spider-Man movie at the hands of the Green Goblin. This will be a shorter fanfiction type story, and I'm looking to do more of these types of videos, like the longer fanfictions that I do, but just a little bit shorter. I know you guys like these because these are the most well-received videos on the channel, so I'd like to bring you more, but these will be a little bit shorter, so they can be more frequent. But don't worry, if you prefer the big and in-detailed fan-made stories that I do, like the Spider-Verse Saga series that is currently going on, don't worry, I'll be sticking to those videos as well, but these are just to fill in the gaps in the channel. So with that being said, if you have any what if scenarios that can make up a short little fanfiction videos like this, then suggest them in the comments below. Without further ado, I also credit to Holly Tweedy for this idea, so love you, thanks for the content. Her TikTok will be in the description if you want to go over there and leave a cheeky follow. Let's get straight to the video. What if the Green Goblin killed Mary Jane in the first Spider-Man movie? Now we have to start off with how this would happen. I think this would happen at the final battle of the movie, and then when Green Goblin asks Spider-Man if he'd like to save the kids or Mary Jane, Spider-Man would try to do the same thing as he did originally by saving both the kids and MJ. However, when he tried to grab MJ, he'd slip. He'd grab the cart with the kids, but then MJ would be falling. In desperation, Spider-Man would web out to MJ, and it would catch her, but then she'd be unresponsive. Spider-Man would call out to MJ, but she wouldn't move. The boat that catches the kids would pull MJ on board and try to wake her up, but they would be unsuccessful. Spider-Man would notice something's wrong, and after an air battle with the Goblin, he lands on the boat for a quick second as the Goblin circles the bridge again. He shouts for MJ for her to wake up, but she doesn't as blood trickles out of her nose. That's right, similar to the Gwen death from the comics, MJ will have snapped her neck from the fall. Spider-Man takes off his mask and cries as the girl he loves just died right in front of him, and he couldn't do anything about it. The Goblin caused this. In a few seconds of her passing, it felt like a million. Peter, already haunted by the looming dread of death of the girl he loved. Then the Goblin swoops in and grabs Peter by the waist and slings him into the church. The final battle plays out the exact same, except for Peter is angry, and the Goblin doesn't get the upper hand like in the original movie. Peter beats him to a pulp until Norman calls for Peter to stop. He takes off his mask, and Peter screams at Norman. How could you do this to him? To Harry? They both loved MJ. Norman says Godspeed, Spider-Man, and the glider charges at Peter, and Peter backflips over the glider, and it impales Norman in the stomach like the original movie. Except this time, Peter doesn't take Norman back to the Osborn mansion. He just leaves him there in his anger. He wasn't at fault for Norman's death, but he certainly has no sympathy for him after what just happened. A couple of days go by and Peter hasn't been seen. Not at the Daily Bugle, not even Aunt May has seen him, but then it comes on the news that Norman Osborn has been found dead in a Goblin outfit by authorities, and the leading suspect for his death is none other than Spider-Man, as they have been seen fighting a couple of times and at the location of his death as well. Now, out of Peter's anger, even though he didn't kill Norman, he is being blamed for his death. Because he left him. He left Norman to rot in his own wrongdoings after killing MJ. Out of Peter's anger, he is now being blamed for the death of Norman Osborn. It's not just Harry that would have blamed him like the original movie, it's everyone. Speaking of which, Harry sees the newspaper by J. Jonah Jameson that Spider-Man killed Norman Osborn, his father, and he is furious. And the paper says that he was the infamous Green Goblin too. So things that are different in this timeline is that Harry still finds out about the whole Spider-Man and Norman debacle, but instead he finds out that Norman was the Goblin at the same time and not at the end of Spider-Man 2. And so does the entire world, and with MJ being dead, Harry is driven into frenzy. He will not stop until he finds out who Spider-Man is, and until he kills him. Cut to a couple of weeks later where they are at MJ's funeral and Harry approaches Peter. They hug each other and Harry says that Peter is all he has left. MJ is dead, Norman is dead, he only has Peter. Peter doesn't say a word, he's too upset. Harry says Spider-Man will pay for all of this, and Harry is going to do something about it. They walk off from the funeral and Peter just stands there at the grave and he cries. He can't believe he lost her. That's all he cares about. He leaves and he goes home and looks at the paper and sees that J. Jonah Jameson and the authorities have now labelled Spider-Man as a public threat. Peter thinks back to what Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility. Peter has the great power to protect the city, and that's his responsibility. So if the city views him as a criminal, the responsible thing would be to give up being Spider-Man for the safety, for the sanity of those who love him. If anyone finds out who he is, the same thing could happen again that happened to MJ. Peter gives up the suit. He is Spider-Man, no more. And then Harry, since he knew Norman was the Goblin, will go looking for the Goblin stuff. and will find it just like he did at the end of Spider-Man 2, except this time it won't be on accident. Harry says this is how he would make Spider-Man pay. And that is the end of the story. I mean, if you guys like a part 2 to see where this will go further, I mean, you know, going down the timeline and include all the Doc Ock stuff and the Harry stuff and potentially even the symbiote stuff as well, then let me know, because this could go to interesting places. With that being said, thank you all for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you are new, and hit the bell next to the subscribe button to not miss any more content such as daily Spider-Man news, theories, games, and fanfictions. If you want a part 2, leave a like. Comment down below if you want a part 2. Also, Spider-Verse hype. We're getting close to the Spider-Verse crossover event fanfiction video. You got any more what-if scenarios? Let me know in the comments below as well. With that being said, thank you all for watching once again, and I'll see you all in the next one. We've got a lot of videos coming. It's going to be hype. Let's go, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.